Hi guys. So today I'm going to try something new. We're going to be solving a mystery today. Spooky, right? So this mystery is the story of Geraldine. Well, just listen.
July of 1953, Mr. and Mrs. Huggin, along with their 3 young daughters, were headed to the girls' grandparents' summer cabin in Wade, Ontario, which is one of the more remote and wild sections of Ontario. Their cabin was right in the middle of this huge swampy forest, and they were not too far from one of the biggest lakes in Ontario called Fox Lake. All the adults decided they wanted to take the girls to Fox Lake for the day, so they began gathering all the supplies they would need while the 3 girls played outside the cabin. And so the 2 older girls played in the front yard of the cabin, and Geraldine, the 5-year-old, was playing on the side of the cabin. At 10 a.m. that morning, the parents had finally packed up the car, and they were ready to collect the girls to head over to the lake. And so they went outside, they got the 2 girls that were out front, and they went to the side of the house, and they couldn't find Geraldine. At this point, the adults start talking to each other, and they're saying, "Did anybody see Geraldine in the past couple of minutes?" And they all agreed within the past 10 minutes, they had seen her right outside the cabin. And so at this point, the family is panicking, and so they call the police. The police show up, and they're looking around thinking, this is a huge, wild, remote section of Canada. And so they called in some professional trackers to come in and help them with their search. On the evening of the 3rd day, they found footprints that they believed to be Geraldine's high up on this ledge in some moss overlooking Fox Lake. And the footprints indicated that this child turned around and walked away from the ledge down into the swamp where her footprints dissipated. And so the search effort was pushed to the swamp. Then on the 7th day of the search, they find another set of footprints in the swamp around the area where they were looking for Geraldine. But it wasn't Geraldine's footprints because they were these huge prints that if it was a human print, they would need to be an enormous human being. Or these prints belonged to some enormous animal, but they were unable to determine what animal it was. 2 days later, so 9 days after Geraldine has gone missing, some of the professional trackers were 2.5 miles away from where that large print was found in that swamp and where Geraldine's footprints were found up on that ledge. They found a piece of her plaid shirt 2.5 miles away on the eastern shore of another lake called Long Lake. And so they pushed the search effort over to that section of Long Lake, and within 24 hours they would find Geraldine's remains. The scene where Geraldine was found was bizarre. There was very little left of Geraldine, and from what was left, it was clear there had been significant animal predation. And so initial thoughts were she must have been attacked by wolves. That's what killed her. But upon closer inspection, they saw that her clothing had not been torn and there was no blood on her clothes. But when they looked at her remains, they ruled out a wolf attack. But if this is an enormous predator, how did it kill Geraldine? The family was told that unfortunately, because there wasn't enough left of her, they weren't able to determine a cause of death. And so their best guess is she was probably mauled by wild animals, but they would even level with the family and say, honestly, we don't know what did this. In early July...
So now
I can tell you what happened.
Oh, my mom's joining in. Okay, Mama? What happened?
The reason there was no blood and her clothes weren't torn is because the reason she probably died of natural causes. She probably dehydration, starvation.
Then what caused those massive footprints?
Oh no, the massive footprints I couldn't tell you. But you have animals that will feed on dead animals, dead people, and not tear the clothes. And if she's already dead, then she's not going to bleed.
Yeah.
So I'd say she probably died of natural causes, and then was ate by scavengers.
Yeah. But that doesn't solve what were those giant footprints.
That could have been a bear, and have absolutely nothing to do with the case.
Yeah, maybe. Could have been a bear. Let's re-listen to that part. Hey, Mama.
What?
Section of Canada, and so they called then some professional trackers to come in and help them with their search. On the evening of the 3rd day, they found footprints that they believed to be
So they found what was believed to be Geraldine.
Geraldine's high up on this ledge in some moss overlooking Fox Lake. And the footprints indicated that this child turned around and walked away from the ledge down into the swamp where her footprints dissipated. And so the search effort was pushed to this swamp. Then on the 7th day of the search, they find another set of footprints in the swamp around the area where they were looking for Geraldine.
Okay, so they found another set of footprints. So what are the footprints again?
But it wasn't Geraldine's footprints because they were these huge prints. That if it was a human print, they would need to be an enormous human being.
If it was a human print.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm saying it is. And bear tracks can resemble human prints.
Yeah. No. Wait. I'm gonna look up bear prints. So that is a bear print. Holy God. Jesus. That is bear. That looks human. Wow. So it could have been,
Especially in that part of Canada, it'd be grizzlies.
so it could have been a Berenstain Bear just wanting to play with a child.
No.
So I want to know what kind of bears are also in that region. So it's showing me black bears and
Grizzlies.
grizzlies. So between black bears and grizzlies, which footprints looks the most human. So black bear footprints are generally smaller and more rounded. So it was most likely a grizzly bear who could have took Geraldine.
But she'd had marks. There'd have been blood.
Yeah.
So,
And also, why weren't her sisters watching her?
because everybody thought she was fine.
Well, she's a 5-year-old child who could have walked into the woods.
Or these prints belong to some enormous animal, but
Yeah. So he's saying it's some sort of enormous human or animal. Well, Mr. Bowen, I'm not sure if it's a human. If it were human prints and there were no claws, that might be proof of Sasquatches in Ontario. But we don't know what the footprints look like because we are like 70 years later. So they could have had claws or they could have not. We do not know. Because bear prints have claws. Sasquatch prints resemble human prints, except they're way bigger. So, grizzly bears. They are definitely Maybe an animal that caused those prints. But wait, they found a piece of Geraldine's shirt. A piece of it.
Right, but then again, they said her clothes weren't ripped. The story makes no sense. I think it was made up.
Yeah, it could have been made up. Or maybe she was just wearing two shirts. One shirt was ripped and the other was fine.
Still doesn't explain anything.
Yeah. Mr. Bowen, if you made the story up, you're not that good at making stories up. Because I almost believed it. And then I realized something. You said that they found a piece of clothing.
I just realized some of my Cheerios are heart-shaped.
Happy Valentine's Day. Except it's like 4 days after Valentine's Day. So yeah. So Mr. Bowen failed to make a believable story as he made one mistake. One single mistake. That mistake was saying that they found a piece of her shirt, yet her clothes were okay. Unless she was wearing a jacket or a shirt. But why a jacket? It was in July.
Exactly.
I am really confused. Let's look at his comments.
He contradicts himself throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. One person says Bigfoot is a suspect. No. Sorry for the silence. I'm just putting up a comment. Okay. So Bigfoot ain't a suspect. It's probably a grizzly bear. So we have solved the case. Well, maybe. It's still a cold case, but
It's even real.
yeah, if it's even real. Well, it is. We have solved a 70-year-old cold case.
Little girl got lost in the wood, died of dehydration and starvation, and then was
Eaten by scavengers.
eaten by scavengers. Yep.
You know what? I say this should be a new series. You know what? This series will be called Mysteries. No, not Mysteries. Mysteries of the Cold Cases. Ooh, yeah. Actually, just y'all leave a vote on what y'all want. I'll make a post later. But yeah, this is a new series. The start of a new series. Where I solve mysteries. Maybe even some family members can join in. I want to subscribe to this dude. Because he gave us an interesting story. You know what? Will names will decide on what I'm about to do. Okay. So the wheel of names will decide the fate for the end of the video. If we will, you know what, wait, save time. Okay, if we will listen for next episode's mystery, or just end the video here. It's spinning. It's spinning. Oh no, we're gonna end the video. Actually, you know what? Best out of 3. That's 1. And Vid wins. Sorry, guys. So, yeah. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. We'll solve another mystery soon. And remember, these videos, they could be real, they could be fake, who knows. They do give us a fun mystery to solve. Adios.